Alright, so now we're shifting gears down here. Again, I'll be referencing the steps from when we had common denominators, because guess what, you guys? They are the same. And I guess to make things easier, I'll fold over the page, so I want to keep like sliding over top our previous problem, even though I did enjoy doing the previous problem. I don't like hiding it, but I think this will be the easiest way. For your OCD people, I'm sorry, I totally folded that crooked. But I'm helping you to break your OCD habits, so it's going to be okay that I folded this crooked. It will be okay, I promise. Okay, so from here, so we have a fraction with denominators that are not the same. So we got to go through these steps. First step, factor only the denominators and make sure the first term is positive, which all my first terms are positive. Again, we ignore the minus sign when we say that because it's minus the entire thing. Okay, so all my first terms are positive, so yay. So now I have to factor all the denominators where it's possible to factor. This first one's degree 1, so it's good to go. I don't have to factor it. But this one is a quadratic. I got something to the second power. Okay, so we have to think about if I have two terms and I'm subtracting, what are my options for factoring? Okay, well the ones we've talked about are difference of squares and difference of cubes. So let's think about which one can I use, or maybe I can use both. I don't know. Well, for a difference of squares, I have to have two terms that are subtracting, and I have to be able to square root each piece. So I do have two terms that are subtracting, and I can square root of x squared, yay, and I can square root of 9. Remember, we ignore the negative when we say that. So a difference of squares is going to work, you guys. Now, a difference of cubes, I have to be able to cube root both terms and subtract, which I got the subtracting piece, but can I cube root these? I cannot cube root an x squared, and I cannot cube root a 9. There are not three of the same thing, so that I can multiply together to get x squared or 9. So the only option is a difference of squares, which I'm going to abbreviate with DOS, difference of squares. So let's start factoring this thing, you guys. Alright. So we got our difference of squares factoring. Let's go. Okay, so difference of squares, if we have two terms and we're subtracting, after we find our A and our C, we add them one time and subtract them. Then we're done. So to get my A and my C, I got to square root the first and last term. So I'm going to be square rooting x squared and square rooting 9. Remember, we ignore the negative when we do this. So the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 9 is 3. So my difference of squares is going to be x plus 3. I'm going to add them one time, my A and my C, and I'm going to subtract them one time. So it'd be x minus 3. So that would be this bad boy factored. So I'm going to write that down real quickly. So what we have right now is my first fraction's good to go. I have x over x plus 3 minus 18 over x plus 3 times x minus 3. So I've now written this thing in factored form. Cool beans, right? Alright, so next up, come up with a common denominator. So I'm going to go back up here. So our common denominators, remember, we must grab one of each thing from our denominator that's different, and if any of them repeat, we write the one with the highest exponent. So I see an x plus 3, and I see an x plus 3. Holy hot dog, you guys, which one do I pick? I have two x plus 3s. Well, it doesn't matter because they're both x plus 3, and since I don't see an exponent, there's secretly a 1 in both of the exponents. So since they have the same exponent, it doesn't matter which one I pick. So I'm just going to pick x plus 3. Alright, and the only thing, so these two are done, so the only thing left is x minus 3. So I'm also going to list my x minus 3. So yay, that's my common denominator. Cool stuff, right? Alright, so that step's done, so bam, check. Step 3, determine where the expression is undefined, and the way we do that, set each factor in the common denominator not equal to 0. So I'm going to set all these bad boys up in here not equal to 0. So for undefined, okay, I'm going to set x plus 3 not equal to 0, and I'm going to set x minus 3 not equal to 0. Alright guys, let's solve this thing. The way we bring positive 3 to the other side is by subtracting it on both sides, which 3 minus 3 cancels and turns to 0, and 0 minus 3 is negative 3. So on my first side, x cannot equal negative 3. Bam. That one's donezo. And on this side, the way we bring -3 to the other side, I'm going to add that thing on both sides. Bam. -3 plus 3 cancels out and turns to 0. And 0 plus 3 is 3. So on this side, x cannot equal 3. If x equals either of these values, a kitten will die. We're not trying to do that. We like our kittens. They're cute and cuddly and furry, and we like to pet them. Yay! So no killing him. Look at him, how cute he is. We can't kill him. Okay? Alright, so that step's donezo. Bam! Now it says, this is the mean part of the problem. Whether or not they want to, we're going to make all fractions have a common denominator. We're going to force them whether or not they want to. Okay, so that will be my next step. I'm going to make these bad boys down here have a common denominator. So let's see here. I'm going to start with my x, or my first term. So I have x over x plus 3. Now let's see, what does this denominator need in order to have the common denominator? Well, it's got the x plus 3 part. Check. It's got that. But it's missing the x minus 3. Oh no. So what do I do? Well, guess what, you guys? All you gotta do if it's missing one, you just multiply it by what it needs. It needs the x minus 3. So I'm going to multiply x minus 3 to it, but if you do it to the denominator, you gotta do it to the numerator. Okay? Now let's see what happens with my second fraction. So I have minus 18 over, I've got the x plus 3, and I've got the x minus 3. Holy hot dog, you guys, this fraction already is the common denominator, so I don't have to change anything. Makes my life easier. Heck to the yes. Alright, so now what we do, we must distribute all this stuff out. So, okay, this one's good to go, so let's keep going. I'm going to distribute this right here. We're going to do x times x and x times -3. So x times x gives me x squared, and x times -3 gives me -3x. And now, and again, you guys, when you multiply with fractions, you go straight across. So I did the numerator. The denominator, when I multiply those together, I just get my common denominator, x plus 3 times x minus 3. Okay, then it's minus 18 over x plus 3 times x minus 3. Well, guess what, you guys? Now I can combine my numerators since I have a common denominator. Okay, so what this gives me is x squared minus 3x. Now this one, you guys, I only have one number in the numerator, so guess what? This is literally going to be minus 18. If I would have had more than one term in the numerator, though, don't forget, secretly there's a -1 in the front, you have to distribute it. Okay, which -1 times 18 is just minus 18. Then all over x plus 3 times x minus 3. Alright, so we've combined our numerators. Bam. Okay, so we added the numerators and we kept our denominator as the common denominator. And we did not forget to distribute the -1. Yes. So the last step says simplify and factor the numerator if possible. And if you do factor it and you can divide out any factors, that's what you need to do. Okay, so looking at my numerator, okay, which I'm going to save space for this right here. So this was our first factoring. This will be my second. I'm going to factor here since I'm kind of out of space. This is my undefined part. I'm going to branch that off as well. Alright, so in the numerator I have 3 terms. So the only factoring technique we can do on that bad boy right there is slide and divide. So let's see if we can. So on this one I'm going to try slide and divide. Last time it super failed us. Remember last time when we did this? We tried to find 2 numbers that multiplied to be AC and had to be B, but it didn't work out. So we just left it alone. Well, let's see what happens this time. For some reason, I'm just having a better feeling about this one and it's going to work out. Okay, so we have x squared minus 3x minus 18. Alright, I know it's a little cluttered. I'm going to zoom in here so we only focus on this right now if we can. Alright, let's start sliding and dividing. I don't see anything in front of my x, so there's secretly a 1. So we're going to start by sliding our a to our c, which 1 times -18 is -18. So I want to find 2 numbers that multiply to be AC and add to be my B, which is -3. So let's see here. Two things that multiply to be negative 18 and add to be negative 3. You guys are so smart. It is negative 6 and 3. Negative 6 times 3 is negative 18, and negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. So remember, you guys, these go directly into my parenthesis with an x. So my negative 6 is going to turn to a minus 6, and my positive 3 is going to turn into a plus 3. And don't forget, you guys, you slide and divide. So we slide the a and we divide by a. So my a is 1, so I'm going to divide my answers by the 1, and then I'm going to simplify. So 6 over 1 is 6. So this will be x minus 6. And 3 divided by 1 is 3. So this will be x plus 3. Look at that, you guys, it factored. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these answers right here and put it in my numerator, and then I'm going to be on the lookout to see if this fraction will simplify, if I can cross out anything that's alike. So let's see what happens. Guys, I'm going to have to squeeze it down here. I apologize, I'm starting to run out of space. So my numerator is now going to turn into x minus 6 times x plus 3. That's what I got over here. That's my numerator factoring. All right, my denominator is x plus 3 times x minus 3. So the last step, you guys, we have to be on the lookout for anything that will cross out here. Do we see anything up top in the numerator that's also in the denominator? I see it too, you guys. It is the x plus 3. Do you guys see that? X plus 3 and x plus 3, they'll cancel out. We'll slice them out. Bam! Okay, so what's left, our final answer is going to be x minus 6 over x minus 3. And that's it, you guys. Wasn't that totally wonderful? I agree.